Well, our battleground focus this morning, Pennsylvania, where Vice President Harris campaigned last night, and Nevada, where Donald Trump held rallies. New York Times polling shows the economy is the top issues for voters in both states, and each candidate made their case on economic matters yesterday.
And that future we build will include what I call an opportunity economy, so that every American has an opportunity to own a home, to build wealth, and to start a business.
We will defeat inflation quickly, and we will make America affordable again. We're getting your prices way down. We will make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far.
Joining us now, Nevada State Representative Danielle Monroe-Moreno. She's the chair of the Nevada Democratic Party, and Pennsylvania State Senator Sharif Street, who is the chair of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party.
Welcome to you both. It's this Chairman's Corner here. I love it when this happens. It's great to welcome you both to the table. So, Chairman Street, I'm going to start with you. You had the Vice President explaining in a little bit more detail her economic agenda and how she wants to lay that out, doing an interview with a local Pennsylvania news station yesterday. I want to play a little bit more of what she said, talking about her opportunity economy plan.
Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our communities, not to mention, really, I think, the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. But investing in people's innovative ideas and giving them the ability to go for it.
This was an interview that she did with Brian Taff on ABC6 in Philadelphia. Does what the Vice President say here align with what your constituents are saying they are looking for, that they need? And how does that translate for them relative to what Donald Trump is saying, as we heard there in that clip, that, I'm going to, just give you this opportunity without really clearly defining what the opportunity is?
Well, look, I'll tell you, it does in so many ways. One, when Donald Trump was president, his PPP program, 95% of black and brown businesses were rejected. We in Pennsylvania at the state level received money from the Biden-Harris administration and were able to create a program where we pushed out $125 million to barbershops, beauty salons, and neighborhood businesses, the kind of businesses that regular people were concerned about. And I think you do hear folks wanting to talk about how do you start business, how do you create generational wealth. I think so her plan does speak to the concerns that people in Pennsylvania, both in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Lancaster, and throughout the Commonwealth are thinking about.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me, Representative Monroe-Moreno, because one of the things we know about Nevada voters is that they are notoriously impossible to poll, that they are late deciders. Yes. So I'm going to guess you have a better read on what is happening in Nevada than pollsters across this country. What is it going to take to get them over the finish line for Kamala Harris?
You know what? I just recently finished a statewide tour, actually going to every county within our state. We called it our kitchen table tour, talking to voters, not just Democratic voters, but Republican voters, independent voters, literally statewide. And it didn't matter what county I was in. The voters had the same concerns and issues, but what they appreciated was that I was there with my team, not just talk to them, but to listen to them. And, just what my colleague was saying, what Vice President Harris is saying, the vision that she has about moving America forward, and what the Biden-Harris team has done resonates. There was a gentleman that I met with, and he was in his work clothes, dirty, and I'm like, hey, did you just get off the job? And he said, yes, I am. I'm like, are you a Democrat or Republican? He said, well, I'm a Republican. I know you hate my party. I said, I don't hate your party, and I don't hate you. But do you know where that job came from? It was the infrastructure bill that got you that job, that created that project in our state. And I'm in red, rural Nevada. And I said, do you have children? And he said, yes. I do. And did you do back to school shopping? And do you own a home? Well, you have that home. You're able to pay your mortgage and do that back to school shopping because of the money that came in through the infrastructure bill and because of the Democratic majority that was in your state legislature that made sure that money was put to work on the ground here in our communities. I chair the Democratic Party, but we're here to represent everyone. So what the Vice President is saying is resonating throughout our state.
You know, this is so interesting because it is not just, I think we talk a lot about the presidential, and yes, but it is down ballot. It is the House, it's the Senate, but it's state legislatures. America's policy is made in state legislatures across the country. And in recent years, this Democratic Party apparatus has had a laser focus on giving states money. I mean, we just had Jamie Harrison here, the chair of the DNC, who talked about all the money that they've been able to give out to various state parties. I think Pennsylvania and Nevada definitely got some cash from the DNC, thanks to the money that the Harris-Walz campaign has raised. But the boon to state legislative races, I think, has also been important and critical. You all are key partners in this agenda. If Vice President Harris is elected, many of the things, you all, just as you said, are going to have to be partners in implementation.
Absolutely. You know, I serve in the Pennsylvania Senate right now, and the investments we've made in the last cycle allowed us to flip our state house for the first time in decades. And we're at a point where we could potentially flip the state Senate, and for the first time probably since anybody here has been born, Pennsylvania would have a Democratic governor and control both chambers of the legislature. That for us is unprecedented, and what it would mean for being able to make investments in communities, protect a woman's right to choose, and in so many other issues that are bread and butter issues for people, not the least of which is addressing gun violence. It would be huge for us.
I want to go back to something you said, and it went by quickly, and it was, you know, somewhat subtle what the gentleman said to you about, I know you hate my party.
Yeah.
Speak to this idea that right now what's animating a lot of our politics is this idea that because you stand on the opposite side of where I am politically, you hate me and I've been told I should hate you, or I've been told you hate me. Help us understand how what Vice President Harris is saying and bringing to the conversation flips the script a little bit on that, and probably that gentleman, when you looked at him and said, no, I don't hate you.
Right.
Why? I barely know you, brother. Why do I hate you? You ain't hurt my mom or my daddy, so we good, right? So what does that tell you about what's going on out there beyond what you're talking about, the policies and things that are going to be very, very important, obviously. But there's also this more granular thing that speaks to us as individuals.
It is. You know, I tell people that I was elected to be the chair of the Nevada Democratic Party, not to build a party, but to build community. What I do as a state legislature, I'm in my community 24/7. But we have seen Kamala Harris in our state often in communities, talking to people, letting them know that she cares about them, not just the policy, but her policies will be effective to help their families, to address the needs of their family. And then it's my responsibility as that state party chair to go to all those communities and talk to all the voters and resonate that, yes, we have a Democratic majority in our House, a supermajority in the House, and majority in the Senate. We are a women's majority and the only women's majority in the country. The policies that we've been able to address are truly those kitchen table policies. Having women at the table changes the conversation drastically. But it's not just about Republicans or Democrats. It's about having a leader that speaks to the issues that matter to your family. And they see that in Kamala Harris. And we've seen that during the Biden-Harris administration. A president that has a heart, that cares about everyone. Yes, he's a Democratic president, but he cares about everyone. And it's our responsibility as state party chairs to make sure that we carry that message that comes from the top all the way down.
Can't say that about Donald Trump, honey. I don't know if he cares about everyone. Okay, I don't know if he cares about everyone. Yes, well, very clear.
No, he doesn't care about it. He only cares about one person.